that on it, because to see a singles match between these two would have been god awful. But at least they had some, room to go around and, sort of smoking mirrors around the match, so it wasn't a total, wrestling match, which I thought was better for Shane. I gave this actually a 3.5 as well. To what it was. For me, I wasn't emotionally invested. That's why I asked Matt earlier whether he was or not. I know some people got into this, but for me, I certainly wasn't. And I'm a Miz fan, but this just wasn't really doing it for me. And it was very hard to take. The problem is, Matt, Shane McMahon, if you know the guy in real life, you see what, again, it's a bit like the Stephanie effect here. It's like, how can you really dislike these people? And they do so many good things. It's very tough to do sometimes. And, to really believe that he's like that all the time is quite difficult. He hasn't got his dad's presence. When his dad used to do it, Vince, I mean, Christ, that guy, you'd want to kill him by the end of it. He'd done such a good job. But, he doesn't have that about him, unfortunately. And these days, with social media and everything, it's very, very difficult. The thing with Vince is he doesn't do interviews and all these things. You just don't see the guy unless he wants to be seen. There's a difference. But when it's Shane and Stephanie trying to play these characters on TV, it's very difficult to take them as this sort of bad authority. But what stars do you give this one, Matt?
It's difficult because of the gimmick behind it. It did give it a little bit more leeway. It's not exactly one I'll go back and watch in future times when I think back on this WrestleMania and I thought, will I want to see this? No, 2.5, I'd say.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough there. Good moments on that one. Now we get to another tag team match. This time the women's fatal 4-way match. Of course, Sasha Banks and Bayley, the Boss and Hug connection. Loving that one. Bev, Phoenix and Natalya, who come out with Bret Hart, which is a nice little moment there. The Iconics and Nia Jax and Tamina. And yes, this match, Matt, well, what did you think of this? I'll let you talk with this one first.
It's not as terrible as I might have thought. I mean, of course, we had the previous multi-man tag team match. They did a better job of it. I feel they all got their points across well. Some people had more than others. Of course, Bayley and Sasha Banks had their moments, but more of a fair share because they were the champions and the inaugural champions, so they have to be shown better light. Beth Phoenix making her return didn't look too bad in the ring. She actually did a good job. Fitted in well. Not too sure where her career trajectory will take her now, whether she's sticking around or not. That's remains to be seen, I guess. And the Iconics, they fitted in just perfectly for me. And to finally have their input in the women's tag team division that they were working on before it was even considered to be a thing of importance. You could tell by the end of the match just how much it meant to them to win it. Good on them. I feel very glad to have them within the WWE and glad that WWE is acknowledging their accomplishments.
Well, for me, it wasn't I dislike this match, I just don't like the multi side of it. I would have preferred if it was just sort of a proper tag team match. I mean, it's a tag team bloody... What I'm trying to say is it's a tag team belt, and then you've got 4 lots of them. I mean, it's a weird concept. So you go back on the old WrestleManias, they didn't have all this multi-person tag matches and any multi-person stuff really. I mean, very rare you'd see a fatal 4-way. Even a triple threat was very unique. So in this day and age, I just feel like the more people you throw in a match, the greater the percentage comes down that you get. And I didn't have any problems. I know we had a lot of emails saying, Sasha and Bayley, they shouldn't have lost. This is ridiculous. They're just champions. What's going to happen to those belts? But, I'm not really too fussed about the winners of it. I'm more fussed about where these belts are going to go, and are they going to go into the realm of a 205 scenario? And they're going to lose all their steam from having that great start, or are WWE going to get behind this and have the Iconics as, a team to be reckoned with for a while, and play them out for a while and see where it goes. I think for Sasha Banks and Bayley, to be quite honest with you, I'm not massively a fan of them together, if I'm totally honest with you. And the problem is, they were together because they had nothing better to do, singles. But now maybe there is a bit of an opening now, I'm hoping, in the women's part at the top. And both these are kind of made established stars to just go there. You haven't got to do a lot. So I feel like Sasha earlier on in the year, she had that Royal Rumble moment. I'm hoping, maybe WWE are going to go that route with her a little bit more. So I'm not too disappointed that they lost, but I just hope, Matt, that it's not a sign of that, well, we're not going to care about the belts now because we haven't got Bayley and Sasha with them. But, we'll see. Summing up this one, matchup went over 13 minutes. I gave this 3 stars. What about you, Matt?
3 stars from me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not as worried about the direction of these titles. I feel like they're in quite safe hands. I mean, like I said before, the Iconics, they put more work into women's tag teams than probably Sasha and Bayley have. So it's not exactly undeserving for them. And when you look at the NXT division, there's fresh new women's tag teams coming through that even. So I feel like there will be options for it in the future.
Yeah, don't mistake me. I have no problems with them being in their hands. As much as I don't have a problem with the tag belts being in the Revival's hands and Uso, but it's just a ridiculous nature of WWE's booking I dislike, is what I question half the time. But hopefully better luck for those two, and we'll see more of them. Well deserving there for them. Now, next up we have a ridiculous segment now. Lacey Evans comes out and walks back again. I'm so bored of that. I cannot believe they did that on WrestleMania. I'm like, what has WrestleMania become to have that in there? Just ridiculous. Did you see that bit, Matt?
Oh yeah, I did see that. I mean, that's kind of what I thought all this was the build up to. I thought she was going to be in the women's battle royal, and that was going to be her moment. But apparently, no, she still has no moment. And what we're supposed to believe now, this is just going to keep happening for indefinitely. Maybe this could go on for months. Maybe she'll get a payoff at SummerSlam.
It's not even that interesting, is what I'm saying. I mean, I know she's doing it. She's doing it to kind of be a heel, but it's not something I don't know. It's just coming across really kind of lazy booking. I mean, they've got nothing better to do at the minute. I don't know where they're going with it, but to have it on WrestleMania, like in the middle of all this, you've got to get through all these matches to put that in there as well. I was like, what are they doing? Really? What a complete waste of time. But there you go. Nonetheless. So next up we have the WWE Championship match between Daniel Bryan, of course, against Kofi Kingston. And, of course, much like WrestleMania 30, where WWE just decided to go with the flow, something I wish they'd do a lot more of. They did the same here, Matt, and I do get on WWE's back a lot. So when WWE do good things, I want to be seen to be crediting their good stuff. So this is one of the credits I will give them, going with the Kofi momentum for a change, going with it for a change, rather than just kind of saying, we're not going to go with it, and Kofi's only this and whatnot, no real plans. But actually to go the full hog with it and, go the way they've gone is commendable, and it's good because, look, I'm not saying Kofi's going to be the greatest champion of all times or anything like that. But what I am saying is, isn't it refreshing to see that anybody does still have a chance, despite what we see on those cameras and, different, throwing different people in that main event for a change. It was a nice, refreshing part, and I think it made it even more unique, Matt, because we all knew that this whole thing, he replaced, Mustafa Ali, and all of a sudden now, Matt, he's at the WrestleMania WWE Championship match with the New Day. Great stuff from WWE for a change. The only downside to it, on my part, was the fact that leading into it, they did try and be too Daniel Bryan with it. I did see a lot of recreations with that, and they done kind of a bad job of it, because I think if they really wanted the Mark fans, the fans that really know what's going on, then they should have had no mention from Kofi at all. That would have really wound people up, because they know that WWE were never going to do it. But some of the spoilers for this going in were awful. I think someone emailed us, didn't they, Matt, on our preview about, they knew the match before SmackDown. This went one better the actual night. I had a notification come through an hour before this match, I think it came on, and it was selling me the bloody Kofi Kingston t-shirt with a belt on it. I was like, what? Is this a wind-up, or is this another poxy WWE muck-up? Oh yeah, it's a WWE muck-up. Of course, I should have known better. That was really ridiculous, and I don't get it, Matt. I mean, like, how quick do you need to get a bit of merch out on the actual dot on the second? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we saw it with Braun Strowman in that bloody car. But yeah, unbelievable. Matt, what did you think of this match, though? Summing it up. You said, I did ask you before WrestleMania what you thought the best match would be. Did this live up to your expectations, Matt?
I think, like, pure wrestling-wise, this was the match to see on paper, and I don't feel like they failed to live up to that. I feel like they did a class job in that ring of putting this off and making each other look good in this match. When you came and said about those spoilers and the emails that came through, I feel like WWE may have kind of realised that they made a mistake, a little bit too late after that, when they started doing that backstage segment, and they went, "Oh, by the way, there's Daniel Bryan shirts here that say and still global champion." We're trying to shift these at the price. So perhaps they realised and thought, "Oh, yeah, that'll make sense. We'll just churn that out." So it was all planned. We had t-shirts printed on both. Just in case. But yeah, the actual match itself I thought was really good. It had a decent amount of time. I'm not too sure about the placement on the card. I feel like it should have came a little bit later.
I agree.
We had the Seth Rollins moment too soon, and now we had this moment too soon. And it's almost at this point in time when I feel like this WrestleMania is it's becoming a little bit too fairy tale. Everyone seems to be getting their way. The fans seem to be being given a little bit too much back. It's almost like there's no sourness to this. Sometimes you need that little upset. I'm not saying it should be Kofi. I think Kofi is definitely deserving of it. And 11 years, it's great that we can still make moments like this in WWE when you get that person who's put in the hard work and they get the result that everyone wants them to have. That was brilliant. I did kind of have other suspicions in my mind that maybe one of the New Day might turn or something, just to add that little bit of a shock to it. But there was nothing like that in the end. It was just one of those classic fairy tale moments.
No, I'm totally with you there, and I was happy, the result of it and everything else. I didn't have a problem with Kofi winning this at all. I did feel maybe Daniel Bryan would, possibly retain it. I didn't think that was totally out of the equation, that WWE might not pull, the full trigger with this one, but they've gone with it, and like you say, I was disappointed at the placement of it. I know that the thing is, the way they look at it, like nowadays with WrestleManias, they think you've got to spread the matches out, but I preferred the old way of doing it. I prefer more like the New Japan way of doing it, which is you build and build and build and build to the big one, but they like to tell you that they've got about 4 or 5 main events now, and it's kind of not really, if you're being honest. Like, I don't want to get out of the way of things here, and I'm going on a bit of a side note, but I'm talking about, if you go back to, I don't know, an old WrestleMania, I don't know, like WrestleMania 12, I mean, it was clearly Shawn and Brett was the main event, and they're going last, and although there were all the other matches, there was only one main event, and they were the 2 biggest stars at the time. I don't think in some of these matches, you look at Roman against Drew later on, and, other people out there, like, you haven't got the best star against the best star at these WrestleManias, which is unfortunate, and where it lacks a little bit. So the position of this was just, for me, it wasn't great. I mean, again, maybe if it had gone on later, would fans have not reacted differently? Would they have been more tired? I have no idea, but it's a long freaking show, no doubt about it, overall. But In any case, I did enjoy this moment. I felt this was a good match. I mean, last year I went into WrestleMania thinking